record this one for
Education.
training purposes. I think we're up and running here. Okay, let's do it. Ring, ring.
Hi. This is
Oh, hey.
yeah. I was waiting for something. Start again.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Kevin with Yoder Real Estate. Which home are you calling about today?
Calling about the home at 7435 12th Avenue.
7435
12th.
12th Avenue?
Correct.
Okay, got it. You know, yeah, okay, got it. This is in Jenison, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Got it. Great. And you know, again, this is Kevin. Who am I speaking with today?
My name is John, Kevin.
Hey, John. How are you?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. Appreciate you asking. John, as you know, this home is in the Jenison location. Is that the area you're looking to buy in?
Yeah. Yep. My kids go
Okay.
to Denison, and I like the school district, so yeah, I definitely would like to stay in Jenison.
Okay, great. So,
Hudsonville, you know, Hudsonville's not bad too, but obviously I'd have to switch them to Hudsonville schools. I'd like to keep them
yeah.
in Denison schools, but I like the Hudsonville area as well if something real fantastic came along, but I really like this house on 12th Avenue.
Got it. Okay. What would have to happen for you to consider a home in Hudsonville versus Jenison? Out of curiosity.
Oh, well, this home in Jenison has a pool. And I really like the pool. I'll be honest with you. Um,
Hmm.
it price wise, it would really have to be a great deal. I know there's not a lot of great deals out there right now, but if something really spectacular came along, I would consider Hudsonville. My kids have friends in Hudsonville, so at least they know people. But I like
Yeah.
the Jenison School District.
Okay. Okay. So if you find a good deal, then you might consider Hudsonville, but mostly you're focusing on Jenison.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And are there any other areas you're looking to buy in besides Jenison and Hudsonville?
No, I'd really like to stay in that area, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Great. And what specifically? You mentioned the pool. Is there anything else that made you call on this
But
home
yeah,
today?
it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I definitely need 3 to 4 bedrooms, and the pool is just the bonus, the icing on the cake that kind of made me really piqued my interest in this one. But
Mm.
it's not a necessity. It's just who would like to have a pool for the summertime? I suppose some people,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
with kids, I definitely would.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Great. So how many bedrooms did you say you're looking for too?
At least 3, Kevin. At least 3
Okay.
bedrooms. This one has 4, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. That's great. And you said you had kids, John. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids, boy and a girl.
Great. How old are they?
My young lady is 7 years old, and my son is 10.
Awesome.
Mhm.
7 and 10. Great. Great. And by the way, are there other decision makers in the process, John?
Just my wife.
Your wife, Jill. Okay. Great. Okay. Super. And this home is priced at 250,000. Is that the price range you're looking to buy in?
Yeah, I'm pre-approved up to 300. I do have to sell my home first, but I'm pre-approved after that. I'm pre-approved up to 300, so 250 is very comfortable. Just because I'm pre-approved for 300 doesn't mean I want to spend 300. You know what I mean, Kevin? It just
Yeah, I do.
so
Smart.
yeah,
Okay.
250,
So
very comfortable price range.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you have a pre-approval letter, and yet you up to 300, but you'd rather just stay down in that 250 range. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay. Okay, great. Well, congratulations on being proactive with that pre-approval.
Thanks,
Who's it
Kevin.
with, by the way? Yeah, you bet.
It's through Chase Bank.
Okay, great. Chase Bank. All right, awesome. And what's so tell me, how long have you been looking at homes, John?
Oh, Jill and I have kind of been looking around. Right now, we only have a 2-bedroom, and it's definitely hard. I have my son sleeping in the basement and my daughter in a bedroom. He deserves his own room. So we've been looking For about a year now, Kevin.
Oh, wow, 1 year.
Yeah, we've
Okay,
been looking.
got it. Yeah, how many homes do you think you've seen the inside of in the past year, John?
Oh, maybe I would guess probably about 10 or so.
Okay, okay. And did any of those fit what you're looking
They
for?
did, but they just really were coming in highly priced. In my opinion, I know I'm not an expert on home value, but they just really they were all upwards towards 300, and to me, they just didn't really pop out to us. You know what I mean? Didn't really reach at us. So we
Hmm.
just kind of kept looking around, and then like I said, we saw this one, and it just this looks like a good deal. Nice home.
Sure, sure. So when you mentioned you felt like they were overpriced. What's tell me more about that?
It just well, I know that it's a seller's market right now, and homes. You know, if you got a home to sell, you're making money on it. They just the cut they were I only found a couple that were 4 bedrooms. They were mostly just 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and
Hmm.
pretty basic. You know, this one has a pool. None of them had a pool. And again, they were up in the upper 200 price range, and it didn't feel right to me.
Sure, got it. Okay, great, great. So it sounds like this. You brought the pool a couple times. Just sounds like that's pretty important for you then.
Well, it gets me excited. I'll be
Awesome,
honest.
awesome. Well, I'll keep that in mind, John. Sometimes we end up putting our hands on a couple other properties with the same attributes. If I find another home that has an in-ground pool in the same area with four bedrooms or more, would you want to look at that one as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if it's yeah, I mean, as long as it's under 300. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll keep that in
Yeah,
mind. I'm glad to know that. That's great. I'll do whatever I can to do that. Okay.
I appreciate it.
And John, I'm curious. Yeah, how have you been looking at homes? Have you been going on Zillow, Realtor.com? Have you been calling the sign? What methods have you been
Just
using?
as I drive the kids to school, I'll see open house signs, homes for sale. I've gone into a couple homes. We just made appointments with the listing agent, and they walked us through the home. A couple open houses, really kind of all of them, Kevin. Just looking on Zillow as well. Um,
Okay.
any avenue we can to check it out. Just again, I just nothing's really kind of stood out to us, you know.
Sure, sure. Got it. Okay, so it's mostly just open house signs. You've done all the possible ways to look at homes, and you just haven't found anything that fits what you need yet.
Right.
Okay, got it. And by chance, are you have you honed in on a timeline that's ideal for you? Like, what is an ideal timeline for you and Jill?
Well, like I said, we have to sell our house first, and I it can be a process, but I pretty much kind of feel like if I find the right house, like today or tomorrow, you know, I'd like to I'd like to probably try and sell my house, but I just want to make sure I find that right home first. I don't want to be
Hmm.
homeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
of course
so
not.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
as soon as possible. Just just gotta find the right home and then sell my home and make it happen.
got it. You're thinking process would be find the right home, sell your home, and then write an offer on the home, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would. Do I have to sell my home? I don't have to sell my home first to write offers. I do. I didn't think.
Well, have you talked to anybody about that yet? By the way, I'm curious. Are you working with an agent, John?
A real estate agent? No.
Yeah. Not no. Okay. Not at all. Okay.
No.
Great. And and again, you mentioned you're pre-approved, so you've taken that first critical step. So I'm sensing that you're beginning to see the value in putting first things first. A pre-approval letter is a perfect example of that because a lot of buyers will actually go out and start looking at homes before they even have a pre-approval. And
Really?
somewhere along the way, they gain insight that what are they going to do if they find a home that they love when they're not even
Yeah.
qualified. They may be qualified, but they can't prove. that they're qualified.
Yeah.
And it sort of brings me to your question. You sort of asked me about this. Can I put an offer on a home? Do you remember whether your home is sold or not? Do you
Yeah.
remember
Oh
asking
yeah.
that?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy to explain. May I explain?
Uh, please do, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, and rather than explaining, I'll just ask you: when you find the home that you love and your home isn't sold yet, what's your next move? What are you and Jill going to do? Let's say you walk in the door of this home on 12th Avenue, and do you know that most people, when they find the home that you might already know this. I'm probably telling you something you already know, John. When you walk in the door, after you've seen 10 or so homes, you kind of already know, and this is what happens. They look at each other in the eyes and they say, oh, this is the one, like we know, right? So let's just say that happens with this home or another one that we walk you through. What's your very next move
Well,
after you acknowledge you
I
love it?
have my pre-approval through Chase, so I assume I would just put in an offer.
Hmm. Okay, so put an offer in. Okay, great. And are you familiar with the types of offers that you can write on a home?
Uh, there's more than one.
Well, yeah, it can be a little bit confusing, but I'll just narrow it down and just use regular terms. There's an offer that is considered a contingent offer, which simply means an offer that is contingent upon the selling of a property or a home. And that's what type of offer that you would be writing if you were in that situation where your home isn't sold yet. And then there's an offer that's non-contingent. Non-contingent is about 90% of the offers that happen, which simply means that there's nothing that needs to happen first. You can just write an offer. Those folks are folks that mostly have their homes already under contract. They're in a sale pending status. And then when they deliver an offer to the seller, it's coming from a place of confidence, and the seller feels better about it because they know that this person can actually exercise the contract and actually get to the closing table. So, and in that way, it makes a lot more sense for the receiver of the offer because they feel stronger about it, and that allows them to accept it more readily.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
that makes sense. I just would be nervous about, like I said, excuse me. What I mean, I don't want to list my home and sell it, and then what happens if we don't find the right home?
Right. Great question. In fact, that's one of the first things that usually comes up is how do we navigate through this? And the truth of the matter is that we've never left anybody homeless. So if you think about how many times we help folks along with this, we make it work. And one of the ways is we negotiate that we build in a lot of time between the time that we get an offer on your home and the time that we actually close and the time that you actually move out. In fact, mostly it's up to 75 days.
70.
Think about that. So if you knew that, yeah, 75 days from the time you get an offer and until the time you need to move out, that's a lot of time, right?
Yeah, it's a good 2.5 months.
Right. And
you can do that.
do you know how long right, you can do that. Do you know how long it takes, John, for the typical seller who has their home sold, sale pending under contract to actually find their next home on average?
I would like to know.
Yeah, it's actually a lot less time than most people think. It's usually about 12 days. And given that you have 75, that leaves a whole lot of room for needing to go deeper and find other properties if you can't find it in the next 12 days. 12, if you just set a timer right now and I'll check back with you in 5 days, you'd realize that's a lot of time. And there's a few reasons why it only takes 12 days is because once your home is under contract, you are now in a position to buy. And until that moment happens, one is really not prepared. They're not qualified to actually buy a home. And it's crazy, but the thing is that the home that they're supposed to live in doesn't reveal itself to them until they're actually ready. When you're under contract, you and Bill and your mortgage professional and your agent and everybody in your world is going to be helping you find that next home, which makes it virtually impossible for it to not show up in your life, especially in the 5 days. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does make sense. I'm just, like I said, I've been looking for a year now, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot has presented itself to me. But I mean, it makes
Right.
sense. Again, I hope that I just get, it's a scary thought living
Yeah.
in my home without having something lined. So most people don't have something lined up first and then sell their home.
Most don't. Once they realize they have 75 days. Now, initially, John, I'll tell you that your thought is similar to what most people think. 90% of the people that we talk to, you think just like them. And so it's natural to think that way. And what we share with them is they'll say something just like what you just said. So you're kind of collectively in that same mindset, which is natural, which is, I'm afraid I haven't found anything yet. And I assume that that's going to be the same thing that happens once my home is listed.
Exactly.
And it says, and I'm like, oh God, I can't find anything.
Yeah.
The question, yeah. So the question I have is you've been looking for all this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
A year.
Yep.
And have you been in a position to make an offer on a home thus far?
Well, I assume that with my pre-approval I was, but I guess, I didn't know about the contingent and all that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense, definitely. I thought I was, but now I feel like maybe I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in order to actually fully exercise that contract and get to the closing table, your home would have needed to sell in order to make that happen, right?
Right.
So then it stands to reason that the home that if you haven't been in a position to buy a home thus far for last year, then naturally you're beginning to see that it stands to reason that the home that you're meant to live in hasn't produced itself to you yet.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of a deeper concept, but it's kind of like when you're ready, it'll appear.
Well, then I
Right?
suppose too, if I have my home, actually, it's going to put that fire under us too. I mean, we just been real casually searching, but I suppose, if we're going to pull the trigger on this and make it happen, that's going to be a lot more motivation to get out there and look at more homes and
Yeah.
see, and really start to dig deep on what's out there instead of just casually strolling through.
Yep. Exactly. And now when you and Jill talk about being in your home, what month pops in your head? What time of year?
Oh, well, I prefer not to move in the middle of winter. That so, we still got another month, 2 months, I think, before the weather gets really severe. So, I mean, if we could definitely start looking at homes and make it happen quick, that'd be great. I don't know, like if obviously I'd sell my home and that could take an X amount of time, and then find our new home could take X amount of time. So, I mean, I just know I don't want to move in the middle of winter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. I often hear that, and that's for good reason. We're in Michigan, right? It's no fun.
Absolutely.
So if we could show you a way, John, where we could get your home listed, get it under contract, which will allow you to write an offer on another home, the home that you're meant to live in for the next 20 years or how long you want to live there and raise your family, and do so in a timeline that is outside of the cold, bitter Michigan weather, would that be a win for you and your family?
A big win. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, let's do the right thing, John. I'll gather some information from you about your home, and once I do that, then I will put you in contact with our client care coordinator. Her name is Emily, and she's going to just fill in the gaps and maybe ask you a few more questions, and then get a time on the calendar for you to meet with one of our listing specialists. Sound good?
Yeah, I mean, really, yeah, it sounds really good. I'm kind of excited.
Okay, so am I. That's great. Looking forward to being a part of this process with you, John. Okay, so let's just pretend like we're filling out the red sheet. I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your home. Thank you so much. Bed and bath combination. Where is it? Hey, what are homes like you're selling for? And then from that point, I'll say, okay, great, John. So thanks for giving that information. Again, I'm going to have Emily reach out to you within the next, let's just say, no later than tomorrow morning, but hopefully this afternoon. Okay. And then once that meeting is scheduled, I'm going to connect with you, and I will do everything in my power to be at the tail end of that meeting, because once you meet with one of our listing specialists, about selling your home, I want to introduce myself to you and shake your hand and then help you along with that buying process and create a relationship up front. Does that sound good?
Well, yeah, I like the thought too, of having one company handling the whole procedure. That's cool.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. And that's what most people, in fact, I think everybody we've worked with feels the same way, where they don't want to work with one agent to sell and then another one to buy, because it's kind of like the head's not talking to the tail at that point, right?
Yeah, I like how you put that.
Well, yeah, that may not make any sense, but let me say it in a way that might not be so vague. When your home goes under contract, it becomes really important that the agent that's helping you buy a home is in tune with the terms and the timeline, so that this is a smooth transition for you and your family.
For sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than talking about heads and tails, doesn't it?
Well, I know I liked it, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes these analogies just don't land, John. You know what I mean? All right. Okay, great. Well, listen, but when we meet up, I'll text you my number and save it in your phone as Real Estate Kevin. And that way, John, when it comes to buying a home, you and Jill have a go-to agent, someone that you can trust and rely upon to give the information to you, and we'll be there as your trusted allies on we're looking for a home. Okay. And then, by the way, as soon as your home goes under contract, we'll get right out there and take a look at this one on 12th Avenue as well. Fair enough?
Yeah, it sounds like I called the right guy.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Hey, listen, one last thing too. You mentioned that you're with Chase. When you meet with one of our listing agents, they may just ask you, hey, do you want to look at a second opinion? The reason why I'm asking that now is because most buyers, even if they have a pre-approval letter, sometimes that lender they're with isn't able to close as quickly as others, and it's going to be important. Most sellers want to know that you can get to the closing table faster. So if you would you be open to a second opinion if you knew that your ability to offer hinged a lot on that?
Yeah, you're teaching me a lot here, Kevin. I didn't even know that was an issue.
Well, I'm really, one reason to be here is to provide value for you, right, and help you along in this process to make it as smooth as possible. That's one of the things that we do better at Yoder Real Estate. So, well, we'll defer this part of the conversation until later. And congratulations again on being proactive with your pre-approval. Looking forward to meeting with you. And again, look for a call from Emily from Yoder Real Estate, our office here. Okay.
I'll be anxiously looking for a call from Emily.
Awesome. Have a great day, John.
All right. Take care, Kevin.
All right. You too. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
All right.
All right.
That's beautiful. Poetry and.
Well, that's how the call goes, guys. You got, I don't know, the head not talking to the tail. I think we could probably have stricken that from the conversation. But
what kind of animal are we talking about?
I don't know. I feel like I may as well just said you can get a good look at a bull by sticking your head up or a T-bone by sticking your head up a bull's ass, but wouldn't you rather take the butcher's word for it? But I said that instead. All right.
That'll be your bull.
Was that your moment in time, Kevin, when you watched that and said, I need to be a salesman when you saw
when I watched Tommy Boy?
That's the best.
The light definitely went off, dude. Let me tell you. All right, let's do glows and grows.
Yeah. Let's start with grows. There wasn't too many. At the beginning, you were just like, got it, great, super. I think you were just trying to think of what was next, and you were just trying to lay out the call. So really, no big deal. And then the glows, there's a ton. I thought at the beginning when you said what would have to happen for you to pick Hudsonville over Jenison, I thought that was a good way to lay it out. You said wow 1 year, and you changed your tonality to hit the pain point, so that was good. And then when he was talking about if you could find another home, you said I'll do whatever I can to do that for you. You just made him feel that he could trust you and make it happen no matter what. And then what's your next move? That's always great. When you find the right home, what are you going to do next? We've never left anybody homeless. So you're just reassuring him that everything's going to be okay.
That was nice.
Just follow what I'm doing. You explain the timeline up to 75 days. And then you said you know how long it takes for a buyer to find the home they really love, and you laid it out there. And you you made it visual for them. And then you you so naturally you're beginning to realize, and you just threw in all the nuances that you need to in the script. So that was really good.
Great. And someone tell me, did you pick up on how I use his inclination to get pre-approved as sort of to help prove the point of being proactive? Did you hear that?
What do you mean?
You mean at the end?
Well, he said he was pre-approved, and I said, "Oh, so you sort of understand the idea of putting first things 1st, right?" Which is perfect.
I actually wrote that down. I wrote down to point out to you, everybody, I'm getting the sense that you're someone who sees the value of putting first things first.
Mm-hmm.
That you're like labeling them as someone who puts first things first. Like that is like you're creating them, that person. Like you're making them realize like, yeah, that is who I am.
Mm.
And then you explain what first things first means, and they're naturally going to want to go.
You guys listen. This is the thing. There's a book by Robert Cialdini, with the title Influence. In the book, they describe this concept of when someone is identifying as a certain type of person, they will then take the next step that helps validate the identity. And when they did the study, they basically came around to a neighborhood and canvassed the neighborhood and then asked them if they would allow them to put a small sign in their front yards, a small sign, not a big sign, a small sign. And it was just something to do with saving the planet, okay? Just a small, tiny sign. Yes, they would agree. And the same people, though, said no earlier on, but then they came back and they said, hey, would you allow us to put a larger sign? And because they already had identified with being somebody who was in for saving the planet, this other sign said something like, even something more along the lines of that. So they got compliance based on a foot in the door concept. Do you understand that? It's powerful. That's why this is one of the books that is a absolute must read to understand what power that has. If you can hear somebody say something, feed to them. And by the way, they're not coming up with this identity on their own. They don't know that. They're not thinking, I'm somebody who naturally sees the benefit of putting first things first. But given that he already did that, I'm going to go ahead and label him that. Then he's going to step into that role. I'm giving him a role and an identity through the process, which is massively powerful. And people that have an identity, they don't. Nick and I talked about this yesterday in that one-on-one. Like you say, somebody that says, I am this. I'm not a smoker. That you can't just walk up and cram cigarettes in their mouth. No, they're not a smoker. I'm a smoker. I am a smoker, or I am a blank. It's a powerful identity piece. And in this case, John, you were somebody who puts first things first and you're proactive. And I'm going to label you as such, which means to talk about the order of priority when it comes to buying a home. If it requires you to financially have your first home under contract first, and you don't have the financial wherewithal to purchase the next one without this one being relieved of your debt to income ratio, removed from that debt column, then naturally we must sell the home first so that you can become a buyer. And you know that already, though, because you're already somebody who puts first things first. Do you see that? That's the power in this, guys.
It's beautiful.
And the other nuance thing that I add, and I don't know that others have tried it, but it's the idea of asking them how long you've been looking and what has been the outcome of that, and then asking, well, so you really haven't been in a position to buy yet, and then having them realize that it's sort of that concept is a little bit deeper. It's more of sort of a meant to be. Do you believe that things are meant to work out for you? Well, if so, then of course it makes sense to you, because how could it possibly have revealed itself to you if you haven't been in a position to buy it? And then that should help bridge the gap, because they're going to like, well, that's true. Wait a minute. Like, yeah, the house I'm supposed to live in.
Yeah, that definitely stood out when you said that.
Yeah. I haven't heard any of us try that really, maybe once or twice. Just because it takes something that you have to be real confident when you're saying that. And and fully trust it and explain it well. You could mess that up and sound like an idiot, and it would have no impact.
Hey, do you believe in unicorns and
You like
Care
Maple?
Bears?
Care Bears.
Yeah. So this one, guys, you're on the leading edge of the real estate conversation. What that means is when a phone rings, you have folks on the other end that good chance 20-30% of the time they're going to have a home to sell first. So this one is huge. If you can get this down and master it, it's going to create massive opportunity for you as a real estate professional, because then you're in the game and having the conversation. You can tee up the listing division, and then so that you can then work with them as a buyer and do that and then execute it over and over and over again. How many times, Nick, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's sort of where it's at, it's sort of where it's at. So don't fear it, lean into it, practice it. Remember the lessons from influence, label when appropriate. And I don't know if it's possible to really fully grasp the concepts that we shared today without reading the book and hearing it firsthand, because there's a lot there.
Influence.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Yeah, my pleasure. We'll keep on doing this. Have an awesome day. We'll see you at the meeting.
A copy of this today to my
Yes.
email. I'm sure everyone else would like it too.
Yep. As soon as we hang up, I'm going to save it, and then I'll share it back with you, and you can watch through it. And I think of all of them, this might be the most important because it's going to happen the most often.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks,
y'all.
peace.
Have an awesome morning.
Peace.
Yep. Peace out.
Peace out.